this COVID crisis that all evictions and people being made homeless will be stopped. Unfortunately, at the instructions of Justice Reynolds, yesterday morning at Cockcrow, a force of 20 Gardaí evicted 4 different people out of a house in Clontarf and brought them before the courts and rendered them homeless at the behest of vulture funds. So this is going on all the time. It pays, in spite of commitments that it wouldn't go on. And I want you to investigate it, Minister, and have Minister Murphy investigate it as well. I have to give credit to our local authorities and their staff and the services, along with the local media and their local radios, and of course in Garda Síochána and all the community groups who have worked so hard and rose to the challenge, as they always would do. On this, one issue I have the anomaly with is local authority restart grant for those who aren't operating out of commercial premises. That's a rated commercial premises, Minister. People whose businesses, from their van, such as DIY, a construction worker, such as a lorry driver with concrete, his own owner driver, or delivering blocks, and there are many of them, a plethora of taxi drivers, minibus for school runs, everything else. They can't get a bob because they haven't a rateable tank to park beside the house. It's a mobile business that they have, and an uncertain one as well, and they got hugely affected back in the last economic crisis. On a local authority level, Minister, similar questions have raised by other TDs. I want to ask your department how your department envisages to support councils to continue their full services, despite a large amount in the rates holiday, and we know a lot of they won't be able to collect the rates from businesses who just can't pay them this year going forward. And if we don't change soon, and cop ourselves on and allow the small businesses, the backbone of rural Ireland. We can get the Tesco's and the Aldis and all the rest of them, and all the big B&S's not open. But the small man behind the counter applying 2 or 3, supporting every community issue, supporting all the spot price, supporting everything. They're not allowed to do anything. And this ridiculous 2-metre rule. And I see the cabinet today overruled by Dr. Houlihan again. So I'm asking you again, who's in charge here? I know you're not at cabinet, but by goodness, it's a strange situation that one man can dictate to 7 or 8 members of cabinet and the whole country. It's time that nonsense was stopped, Minister, and support our people. As I said, the local enterprise offices have been brilliant and very helpful during the whole situation, with a number of progressive and engaging schemes since the start of this. From my engagement with the people in these offices, I'm aware that schemes have been totally oversubscribed, and we see that. Schemes such as the business continuity grants, would your department consider extending the funding for those, Minister, because they'd have to be. They're doing great work, and there's no point having oversubscribed because they were announced in a fanfare, and now people are going to be very disappointed. And the LEOs are vital. The leader companies as well, Minister. We must get leader back to where it belonged, of the people, by the people, for the people. It was a smash and grab by the local authority and by Big Phil, your former colleague, who destroyed what was recognised throughout Europe as a model to be worked on. I also fear for the future of schemes like the Town and Village Renew scheme, which have proven to be beneficial in our communities. Where groups have been awarded but haven't had the opportunity to date to work due to the lockdown and fear, they mightn't be able to get the work completed with tender process and everything else. And I met one of them this morning in my own village of Newcastle, and I want to salute the community there, Winton and Tira. And I met the secretary today, who was out for the first time in ages. And she was cocooning and looking after her husband, and rightly so. And she's worried, will the work be able to complete, will it get done, and will the money be pulled, or will it be honoured? And God help us for next year, I know where we're going to go. Other schemes, Minister, such as local improvement schemes, a great scheme, and we have funding in Tipperary this year, not half enough, but it's a wonderful scheme. That was wiped off after the last economic recession. Would that be an easy target again? Because the rural people are entitled to have these schemes. And Minister, I want to ask you why your department hasn't announced the CIS funding. It's due and overdue. We're into May, and these roadworks would normally start, schemes would start normally before Paddy's Day. And why hasn't that that been announced to councils yet? But Minister, Mark and I'd appreciate you can write me back the replies, please. Minister, small businesses, they're there. I mean, the hairdressers as well, and they're ready to, and I've seen Willie Walsh and Clonmel, the job he's done to get ready. They have to be allowed. They're the backbone of people to bring people into town, they go to the coffee shop, wherever else. The back market is thriving. There must be common sense here, and this 2-metre rule is ridiculous. And as far as getting a pint in a small pub, I don't know when we'll have, Minister, I know we shared one before, they can't operate in this 2-metre distance. It's a patent nonsense. We all talk about Hungary and give out about Hungary, and this powers you said they grabbed here, your leader and the Fianna Fáil leader attacked Viktor Orban, the Prime Minister. They kept it down to 500 deaths in the country, and they have many borders. We have only an island, we're almost an island, we have one border, Northern Ireland. So the ineptitude that we had there in sealing the ports, we must ensure that they're back up and running now and open the borders at 500, a population of 2.5 times what we have, and we have 1,600 and growing. So there's a lot of, I said it earlier this evening, a scam and scamdemic going on about this pandemic, Minister, and we need answers. Thank you.
Thanks, Deputy.